Like many families in America, my parents hail from different parts of the world. My mother was raised in a family with deep roots in the South. And what this meant was my grandmother was an extreme racist and an anti-Semite. She actually was a Holocaust denier, which is kind of ironic given that my mother married my father, who is part Hungarian Jew. Now, my grandmother, she had no knowledge of this. Had she known, she would have never allowed my mother to marry my father. But the reason she didn't know is because my grandfather had changed his name when he graduated from college. So his original name was Lefkowitz, and his professor came to him and said, look, there's anti-Semitism everywhere. He's like, you're never going to be able to find a job with that name. So he went and he changed his name to Lang. So my grandfather tries to hide his Jewish heritage, and his son ends up marrying into a family with anti-Semitic sentiments. Isn't it interesting how love doesn't really care about our identity? That love just melts away all those distinctions? And yet, at the same time, we crave identity. Humans are very tribal. We want to know that we are part of a group of people who accept us for who we are and sees the world in much the same way we do. And so there's this tension that exists in our lives. On the one hand, we want to feel connected. We want to feel part of a group. On the other hand, we want to feel loved, and we want to feel that we are cared for. What I've discovered is that identity is not always concerned with love, and love is not always concerned with identity. Let me give you an example of what I mean. When Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th, 2023, like many people around the world, I was shocked at the severe and indiscriminate brutality of those attacks. And my Jewish side really resonated with Israel's need to hunt down those perpetrators and bring them to justice. But by the end of November, what became clear to me is that the Israeli army wasn't just targeting Hamas. They were leveling whole neighborhoods. They were destroying crucial infrastructure, like power plants and sewage systems and hospitals, and they were preventing the distribution of humanitarian aid. The more this happened, the more my heart for the people of Gaza overrode my Jewish identity. How I felt about Hamas attacking Israel was now how I felt for the people of Gaza. They were the targets of severe and indiscriminate brutality. Both Hamas and Israel are in the wrong, and it's the ordinary person with no power who suffers the consequences. So what we're going to talk about in this final episode of season 1 of Kokoro is the concept of identity. Where does identity come from? Why is it important? When is identity good for us? When is it bad? And how do we navigate the tension between the loyalty we feel to our identity and the love we feel for those outside of our tribe? To begin talking about this, I want to introduce you to two people who have had to navigate this dynamic in ways that few of us can understand. Will you join me in the kitchen?